Okay, so uh, have you ever like walked through a park, maybe in a city or something, and there's like one of those metal sculptures,
Right.
but it's also a bench. Like
Yeah.
somebody designed it to be art, but it's also functional.
Yeah.
So you sit down and like, who made this? Like, how do you even?
Amazing.
Yeah, and it's metal. It's gonna be there forever, basically.
Exactly. That's what we're going to dive into today. The people who make that happen. We're talking about metal furniture machine operators.
I love that we're looking at this career. It's not something you hear about every day.
No, not at all. But think about it. Metal furniture.
Right, it's everywhere.
It's everywhere, and somebody has to make it.
True.
And the career guide you gave me, actually, it's super interesting. There's a lot more to it than I think people realize.
Yeah, when you say metal furniture machine operator, I think like factory, big machines, maybe a little bit dangerous.
Yeah, you definitely have the machines. And we can talk about the safety stuff, but it's really a blend of technical skill and, like, I don't know, what's the word? Artistry, almost.
Yeah, like when I think about the furniture part of it,
Yeah.
you have to think about design and what looks good together.
Mhm.
It's not just about making something sturdy.
Absolutely. And I think people would be surprised. This career guide actually goes into the different metals they work with.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just steel, although obviously that's a big one.
Right.
Aluminum, iron, stainless steel. I mean, the range is really incredible.
So like my water bottle
Exactly.
versus like a huge building.
And the way those materials are handled, the techniques used, it's all different. Like, think about the difference between a garden chair and, I don't know, a stainless steel countertop in your kitchen.
That's true. You never think of those as like the same.
Right. But it's all metal furniture in the end, and it's these skilled operators who bring those designs to life.
Okay, so let's say you wake up one morning and you are a metal furniture machine operator.
Chuckles.
Okay. What's your day like? What are you actually doing?
So it's going to vary depending on where you work, right?
Hmm.
Some operators, they're in these massive factories.
Oh.
Blue doors, lots of other people. It's a whole thing.
Like an assembly line kind of thing.
It can be, yeah, depending on how the company's set up. But then you have other operators, maybe they work on more custom pieces.
Right.
Like that park bench you were describing.
Yeah.
They might be in more of an open-air workshop, smaller team.
Interesting. Okay, but what are they actually doing all day? Whether it's a factory or workshop or whatever.
So picture this, all right? Huge sheets of metal are delivered.
Okay.
And these operators, they use all these different tools like saws, presses, even lasers now, to cut those sheets, shape them, mold them into the pieces that are eventually going to become, say, a table leg or a chair back.
So they get like a design and then have to figure out how to cut the metal.
Yeah, there's a lot of precision involved. It's not
Mhm.
just about brute strength. It's about accuracy and knowing how the metal's going to behave.
So you're already problem solving right from the start.
Oh, absolutely. You have to be on top of it. Because let's say a piece isn't cut exactly right, or it needs to be adjusted.
Right.
That operator has to figure out a solution, often on the fly.
And they like, you can't just glue it back together, right? Like you've messed up this piece of metal.
That's it. So there's a lot of pressure to get it right.
Okay, but we haven't even touched on the welding yet. And robots. I mean, come on.
All right, you want to talk robots. That's where things get really interesting.
Because that's got to be changing how this whole job works, right?
Big time. Like this career guide, it actually dives into how robotic welding is changing the skills people need to succeed.
Yeah, let's talk about that because I think people hear robots and they think job killer, but it sounds like that's not the whole story.
Not at all. Think about it. You've got this robotic arm, right? Guided by software, incredibly precise movements.
Okay, I can picture it.
And it's welding these pieces together flawlessly.
So instead of like the old school welding mask and the sparks flying everywhere.
Well, you still have some of that.
Okay.
But now you've also got this high-tech element.
So is the operator like programming the robot?
Exactly. That's a big part of it now. You need to understand the software, troubleshoot if something goes wrong. It's a whole other level of skill.
And responsibility, I bet.
Oh, yeah. You're essentially managing this robot, making sure it's producing top quality welds that are also, aesthetically pleasing.
Oh, so like even the robot welds have to look good.
Especially if it's a piece of furniture that's going to be seen, right? You don't want these big ugly welds ruining the design.
Wow, okay, so you've got to know metal, you've got to know design, you've got to know how to operate a robot.
It's a lot. This isn't your grandfather's welding job anymore.
I feel like I can barely operate the coffee maker in the morning, and that doesn't even have robots yet.
Chuckles. You and me both,
And
honestly.
see, so like, what kind of person thrives in this environment?
I think you have to be someone who embraces technology, but also still appreciates the craftsmanship.
Because you're still working with your hands ultimately, right?
Absolutely. You're problem solving, you're making decisions, you're making sure that the final product meets these really high standards.
And the guide had this whole section on attention to detail. They even had a quote from someone who actually does this job.
Oh, yeah. What did they say?
Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Okay, here it is. The satisfaction of seeing a design come to life in metal, knowing I had a hand in every weld and every curve, that's what makes this job special.
I think that really gets at the heart of it.
Yeah, it's this pride in your work.
In that sense of accomplishment, it's pretty cool.
But it's got to be challenging to break into this field, right? It seems so specialized.
But that's where this other resource you gave me comes in.
Oh, right. RoleCatcher.
Oh.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about that because this platform sounds like it could be really useful for anyone listening who's like, okay, this all sounds kind of awesome, but how do I even get started?
Exactly. And it's not just about this job. It's about navigating any job search in a smarter way.
Okay, so break it down for me. What is RoleCatcher and how can it help?
Imagine you're on like 5 different job websites.
Oh, tell me about it. It's the worst.
And each one's got like a million listings and you're trying to find that perfect one.
And they all sound the same after a while, like motivated individual team player.
Exactly. So RoleCatcher, it's like this, it helps you cut through all that noise,
Yeah,
right?
that's good because noise is the right word for it.
It helps you focus your search so you're not just like throwing applications out into the void.
So I'm not just refreshing my inbox hoping for a miracle.
Hopefully not. One of the things I thought was really cool, they can actually analyze those job descriptions for you, like really dig into the wording.
What do you mean dig into the wording?
So let's say a company's looking for a metal furniture machine operator, right? And they want someone who's proficient in CAD software. RoleCatcher picks up on that.
Okay.
And it'll suggest ways you can tweak your resume, your cover letter to really highlight that specific skill.
Oh, that's smart.
Hmm.
Because you could have that experience, but if it's buried 3 pages down in your resume.
Exactly. It might as well not even be there. This way you're putting your best foot forward, showing them you've got what they're looking for.
Okay, so I'm already liking this RoleCatcher thing. I'm picturing it like a little robot stapler just firing out perfect applications for me.
Yeah. Well, it's not quite that automated, but you're getting the idea.
But you said they can help with interview skills too, right?
Oh, yeah. That's the other thing I was impressed by. Have you ever done those mock interviews?
Ugh, I hate asking my friends to do those.
It's so awkward.
The worst. But also, how do we know if they're giving me good feedback? They're not exactly career coaches,
Exactly. So RoleCatcher has this AI thing where you can practice your answers, even do a whole mock video interview if you want.
Whoa. Okay, with a robot interviewer.
It's not a robot exactly. It's more like,
AI.
yeah, it analyzes your responses, your tone, even your body language, and gives you suggestions for improvement.
Okay, so it's not judging my outfit, but it's just making sure I'm not slouching or whatever.
Exactly. I mean, think about it. For this metal furniture job, you're going to want to come across as confident, right? You know what you're talking about. You can handle the pressure.
Oh, totally. You got to know your stuff.
This AI feedback can help with that, get you comfortable talking about those technical skills.
Okay, that's huge. Because, I'm a people person only gets you so far when we're talking about lasers and robots.
Exactly. This is about showcasing those hard skills, the technical expertise that employers are looking for.
All right, so RoleCatcher, definitely checking that out. Before we get too sidetracked, we were talking about the future of this whole metal furniture world, and I feel like we haven't even scratched the surface.
Oh, there's so much more to talk about. This career guide, it really impressed me with how much it focused on the future.
Yeah, it wasn't just here's how to get a job today.
Yeah.
It was like a peek into what this whole industry is going to look like in 5-10 years.
Right. And one thing that stuck out to me was sustainability. That's obviously a big deal right now.
Yeah, everything's about being eco-friendly these days.
And metal, it's actually really well suited for that. I mean, think about it. It's super durable.
Yeah, you don't see people throwing out those wrought iron fences too often.
Exactly. It lasts forever. And it's also really easy to recycle.
Oh, that's true. I feel like with a lot of furniture, once it's done, it's done.
Right. You're basically stuck with it. But metal. Melt it down, start over. The guy talked about how some companies are using almost entirely recycled metals now.
Really? Wow. That's pretty cool, actually.
It is. So that metal desk you're sitting at, it might have been a car in a past life.
Okay, that is cool.
Yeah.
It's like upcycling, but on a whole other level.
Right. I mean, you're talking about taking something that was at the end of its life and turning it into something beautiful and functional again.
So it's like this whole craftsmanship element, but with a sustainability twist.
Exactly. And the guide really emphasized how that's only going to become more important moving forward.
Okay, so recycled metals, that's huge.
Huh.
What else is on the horizon? Because I feel like robots and lasers are just the beginning.
Oh, we're just getting started. You ready for this? 3D printing.
Okay, wait. Like the thing where my friend tried to make a little plastic Yoda, and it looked like a melted green blob.
Laughs. Maybe not quite that, but you're on the right track.
Because I can't imagine 3D printing a whole couch or something.
Not yet, at least, but industrial 3D printing is a whole different ballgame.
Okay, so how does that even work with metal?
So basically, imagine you've got this super precise laser,
Okay.
and it's melting layers of metal powder together, building the object up layer by layer based on a digital design.
So you're telling me someone could design a chair on their computer and then just print it out in metal, like that's it?
That's the general idea. I mean, there's obviously more to it than that, but the potential is huge.
Okay, that's wild. So like less cutting and welding, more melting and fusing?
It's definitely a different approach. The guide mentioned that this is still pretty new technology,
Right, right.
but it could totally change how metal furniture is made in the future.
I mean, can you imagine? Like, no more shipping huge pieces of furniture. You could just send someone the design and they print it out at home.
That's the dream, right? Or imagine being able to customize furniture to fit your space perfectly. No more weird gaps or awkward corners.
Okay, but that's got to be way down the line, right? Like,
Yep.
that's Jetsons level stuff.
Maybe, maybe. But even if it's not happening tomorrow, it's exciting to think about.
It is. But, okay, let's say someone's listening to this and they're like, okay, this is all super cool, but robots, 3D printing, how am I supposed to keep up?
That's a good question, and the guide actually addressed that. It all comes down to being willing to learn, to adapt.
Like, is this a job where you have to go back to school every few years to stay current?
It can be helpful, but it's more about having that mindset of continuous learning, you know?
Being open to new things.
Exactly. Being curious about new technologies, new techniques, even if they seem intimidating at first, that's how you thrive in this kind of field.
Because I was thinking about like, okay, I'm picturing the safety stuff. Because working with metal and machines, there's got to be some inherent risk there.
Oh, absolutely. And the guide didn't shy away from that at all. They actually had a whole section on safety protocols.
Oh, good.
Because it's one thing to be excited about robots and lasers, but you also got to make sure you're working in an environment that prioritizes your well-being.
100%. So
Yeah.
what did they say about that? Like, what should people be looking for?
Well, first of all, any responsible employer is going to provide thorough training.
Right. Not just throw you in there on day one.
Exactly. They should be teaching you how to operate the equipment safely, how to identify potential hazards, all of that.
So, like, if a company's not talking about safety during the interview process, that's a red flag.
I'd say so, yeah. Because at the end of the day, it's about finding a workplace where you feel valued, both for your skills and for your safety.
Okay, that's good advice no matter what job you're looking for.
Absolutely. And speaking of finding the right job, let's circle back to RoleCatcher for a second.
Okay, yeah, because I'm still a little stuck on how that actually works. Like, is it just me inputting all my info into a website?
It's more than that. I get why people might be hesitant about using technology for job hunting. It can feel impersonal.
Yeah, like, am I just a bunch of keywords to this algorithm?
It's designed to be a tool that helps you, not replaces any sort of human interaction.
So it's not like it's applying to jobs for me or writing my cover letters.
No, you're still in control.
Okay, good.
But it's like having this, I don't know, this assistant, this sidekick that's gathering information, organizing everything, and then presenting it to you in a way that's actually useful.
Okay, so it's like helping me make sense of this giant, overwhelming job market.
Exactly. And then giving you the tools to actually stand out. Because think about it, for a metal furniture machine operator job, there's probably a lot of competition.
Oh, I'm sure. It seems like a pretty specialized skill set.
It is. So you need a way to showcase those skills, and RoleCatcher can help you do that.
By, like, making sure my resume has the right keywords, that I'm practicing my interview answers, all of that.
Exactly. It's about using every advantage you can get.
Okay, so we've talked about the skills, the technology, the job search, even the safety stuff. Anything else someone who's interested in this field should keep in mind?
You know, as we were talking about 3D printing and all that, it made me think about something.
Okay, what's that?
Creativity. Like, in a world where machines are doing more and more, where does that leave human creativity?
That's a good question.
Hmm.
Because you could see it going either way, right? Like
Yeah.
maybe the robots take over all the technical stuff and there's no room for human input.
Right.
Or maybe it frees us up to be even more creative because we're not bogged down in the day-to-day tasks.
And I think with this job, with metal furniture machine operators, we're seeing that second thing happening.
Okay, explain that to me.
So yeah, you've got robots welding, you might have 3D printers making certain parts, but behind all of that, you still need a human to design those things, to program those machines, to make sure it all comes together.
So the creativity is happening at a different level.
Exactly. It's not just about shaping the metal anymore, it's about shaping the technology that shapes the metal.
Whoa, okay, that's kind of blowing my mind a little bit.
I know, right? But it's exciting. It means that this isn't a field that's going away, it's evolving.
So if you're someone who likes working with your hands, but you're also fascinated by technology,
These could be a really good fit.
yeah, it's like the best of both worlds.
And that's what I would want people to take away from this.
Okay.
Don't be afraid of technology. Don't be afraid to learn new things. Because the future of this industry, the future of a lot of industries, is about that blend of traditional skills and cutting-edge tech.
I love that. Embrace the change.
Exactly.
Okay, so there you have it, our deep dive into the world of metal furniture machine operators. Hopefully you learned something new, maybe discovered a career path you'd never even considered before.
There's a lot to think about.
There is. We'll link to the career guide and RoleCatcher in the show notes if you want to explore more.
Definitely worth checking out.
And until next time, keep those creative sparks flying.